It's the 2-week roundup time, and my name is Nick, and I'm coming at you live from Brazil. Behind me is Sugarloaf Mountain, which is in Rio de Janeiro, you know. A lot of people think Rio de Janeiro is the capital of Brazil. Well, it isn't. The capital of Brazil is Brasilia. The main language is Portuguese and got a rather large population of 200.4 million. That's quite a few, isn't it? No wonder they got such a good football team. Brazil, Brazil. Yes, that's enough of my singing. Brazil is in South America, and I thought we'd come to that. Sao Paulo, there's a racetrack there as well. So, you know, we're going to have a look at the videos we covered this week, more importantly the gameplay videos, and give them some sort of crazy order like we normally do. It's quite tall, isn't it? Looks like a sugarloaf. But before we do look at those top 6, we'll have a quick glance at the 2 pinball arcade tables we looked at this time round. Now, I made a bit of mistake. Now, I know I don't normally make mistakes, but I said in these videos these are the last 2 in season 2. They're not the last 2 in season 2. We still got 2 tables to do: Cue Ball Wizard and Eldorado City of Gold. Now, behind me, this is live, you know, although the water is running a little bit slow today, I have to admit. Something to do with phases of the moon. But this is the Iguazu Falls, pretty much on the Brazil-Argentine border. But it's quite wide and it's quite spectacular. I think it spans about 2.7 kilometres at its widest. Okay, so Pinball Arcade is by Firesearch Studios. The first one we looked at was Class of 1812. Now this table is pretty mad. It's a horror style table, bit in the genre of Elvira, if you check those tables as well. It's based around well, the Class of 1812. Some students in school of 1812 decided to reunite themselves, but they are a bit past their sell-by date. So the table has a severed hand, some discombobulated chattery teeth, and a few other bits and bobs. It's a horror table. And it does play the 1812 Overture. Is it by Tchaikovsky? I'm going to have to check that again. When you release the multi-ball. But it's great fun, this one. I could spend absolutely hours on it if I wanted to. But it's one of the better ones in Season 2. And I thoroughly recommend it. Come bundled with Victory, which will come to in a moment, released as a table pack in 2014. But some great music and some rather dodgy poetry throughout. But, you know, I'll let it off for that. Oh, I got splashed by a bit of water then. So realistic are the falls. No, they are realistic because we're here. I might jump in and have a dip later on, but luckily I've got a waterproof hat on. The second table we looked at was Victory. Yes. This isn't one of my favourite tables. It lacks a bit of pizzazz, but essentially you've got to light up 7 checkpoints. And then get the ball through the checkered flag spinner at the end once you've done everything. Yeah. It doesn't have much variety. It will keep you going for a little bit, but you might like it, but it's not too much to do. I don't think there's a multi-ball there, and it just doesn't capture my attention. Tell me what you think of it on the actual video, but there are better ones in the series. It's one of those ones you'd buy just because it was bundled with something else, and it's not a bad addition if you're going to buy 1812. Later on in the Pinball Arcade series, they start bundling the tables as one a pack. I think because they got a bit more expensive to do with licensed tables as opposed to the 2. So they're the 2 we had a look at, 1812 and Victory, but we will be looking at the other 2 as well. When I say other 2, Cue Ball Wizard and the other one. And we're back in Rio de Janeiro, folks, as we come to the top 6. And you can't get much more iconic than that. It's the fantastic statue of Christ the Redeemer back in Rio de Janeiro, and it's within a stone's throw stone's throw, that makes sense, of Sugarloaf Mountain, which you looked at not 5 minutes ago, or maybe even less. Made of soapstone and was created in 1931. Created in 1931, I well remembered. So, in 6th place this week, the game I like the least. It was Strider on the ZX Spectrum, published by US Gold in 1989. It's an arcade conversion, and although it's a brave attempt on the ZX Spectrum 48K, it is extremely bland and jittery and glitchy. A lot of people may like this, but I just see where it struggles really. In my gameplay review type thing, there was a couple of glitches which come out immediately. The frame rate isn't brilliant, but I can't be over harsh. The ZX Spectrum often struggled in this sort of era as they competed with the Commodore Amiga and other 16-bit machines. And trying to do a port for an arcade machine, absolutely splendid work by the coders, but it's maybe a thing too far. And that's why, and that's the only reason why this particular one come in 6th. In 5th place, this game would have been 6th for a lot of other weeks, on the Commodore Amiga, it's CISCO Heat by Imageworks in 1991, so 2 years after Strider. Again, I believe this is an arcade conversion. It feels a lot like Chase HQ, but an inferior version of it. Basically, you're in a cop car. You've got a choice of two, but they pretty much handle exactly the same, just different graphics. And you're in the first ever police car steeplechase in San Francisco. It's level based, it's stage based with the time ticking down, and essentially you have to get to the end of each stage before the time runs out, so it's hardly novel. But what makes this game rather unique is there's occasionally some really weird 90-degree bends you have to go around. I'm really interested to see what this looks like on the ZX Spectrum. But on the Commodore Amiga, it's really jittery. You've got to view it for the sort of era, I suppose, and it's quite novel, it's quite brave, the things they've done there. But it isn't fun to play. If you're playing it without a cheat mode in, you only have to knock the scenery a couple of times, or a car a couple of times, and it's really, really tricky. So the replay value is quite low. The second time I played it, I did put a cheat mode on to advance further into the game, but the gameplay doesn't really change that much, and it is quite painful to play a lot of the time. So CISCO Heat in 2nd place. And in 4th place, yeah, another struggler, Batman and Robin on the PlayStation 1 by Acclaim Entertainment in 1998, based on the goddamn awful film Batman and Robin starring George Clooney. This is when the Batman franchise really went off the rails. The first one, well, the reboot was Batman with Jack Nicholson as the Joker. Then Batman Returns with Dan DeVito as the Penguin. Batman Forever, well, Val Kilmer's playing Batman now. It's got Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face and Jim Carrey as the Riddler, which sort of worked, and Nicole Kidman in as well. And the 4th one, for some reason, they've cast George Clooney. Now, I've got nothing against George Clooney as an actor himself, but he's not Batman. And this game, although ambitious, it controls really badly. You have a choice of controlling either Batman, Robin or Batgirl. Each have their own different vehicles, but they all handle terrible. And by solving clues, you have to go around a sandbox style map around Gotham and beating up baddies and doing various things. We've got very long load times between each thing. It's not fun to play. It's got a few good moments when you go through cars and they explode, but it doesn't bring you the fun of Batman. So in summary then, a bad game based on a bad movie. Yeah, that was never going to work, wasn't it? So recap then. 6th place, Strider on the Commodore Amiga by US Gold. 5th place, no, Strider on the Spectrum, I should say, by US Gold. Ugh. 5th place, CISCO Heat. This one was on the Amiga by Imageworks in 1991. And in 4th place, Batman and Robin by Acclaim Entertainment in 1998. I hope you like that car driving around the Sao Paulo race circuit. I think it's Fernando Alonso's Ferrari, but I think he might need more practice. Terrible driving. Okay, so what is the top 3? In third place on the ZX Spectrum, quite a nice game this one actually, it's Brainstorm by Bubble Bus Software from 1985. Yes, classic 80s action. You control this guy who has to, well, he's been teleported to Professor Brainstorm's castle and he has to escape by collecting different coloured keys, a bit like Attic Attack I suppose, but there's more keys in this one. Go through gateways, kill alien clone type things and eventually escape. Really well put together this, an inventive game, good one by Bubble Bust. You can tell its influences from some of the Ultimate games, but the sounds are good. Yeah, it's a really nice one. I mean, I want to go back and do a bit better on it because I didn't complete much in the gameplay review. It's one of those ones where I want to learn a poke to put in so I can complete it with cheaty work to see what goes on, but I bet at the end it just says congratulations, you completed it. Just like some of the other Ultimate games as well, it gives you the percentage of the castle you've explored at the end. So judging by how well I did, this castle must be absolutely huge. So would have been off a lot of people's radars, this one. I've only come into contact with it very recently. Brainstorm by Bubble Bus Software 1985. If you can get a hold of a copy or play it, then do so. Watch the review. It's really, really nice game, this one. In second place this week around, a game that reminds me a little bit of Prince of Persia. I think Flashback come afterwards. It's on the Commodore Amiga. It's Another World by US Gold in 1991. Now, although this game looks absolutely gorgeous, the music is really good as well, very atmospheric. It's extremely tough, but even despite that, I'd have it in second place because I can see it's a really well done game actually. We'll be coming to Flashback, I think, in maybe a month or so. Do check out my Prince of Persia review, which I've done a long time ago, and this one advances on that by US Gold in 1991. Really useful looking game. I mean, it's separate screen based. It's over, I think, about 5 levels, but you control this computer hacking guy. Now, through some mistake or some error with his particle accelerator, he's been beamed to this alien planet, and he essentially must escape by befriending this alien creature, avoiding getting killed by various other aliens and lions and so forth. And it's like a puzzle solving platform adventure game. I'm told that it recently version come out on Steam on the PC. So, you know, if you can't get the Amiga version, maybe try out or have a look at least at that Steam version. Because although difficult, it is going to be very rewarding if you put the hours in. And you will get quite a lot of hours of gameplay on this because it's so difficult to start off with. There is a cheat I know on the Amiga version to jump to different levels. I use it to jump to level 2, but I couldn't get much further than escaping from a swinging cage. So there you go. Another world there. And in first place, I reviewed this game on the Commodore Amiga a while back. It's just called, well, slightly different name. Not to give too much away, in first place this time is Final Fight 1 on the Game Boy Advance, a handheld game. I reviewed Final Fight on the Commodore Amiga a little while ago, and it wasn't too bad, although it was flawed in a few ways. But all those flaws are gone on this version. Final Fight 1, I don't know where they got the 1 from, published by Capcom in 2001. I would say it's even better than the arcade version. Amazing in a handheld there. So you've got a big arcade coin-up cabinet, and you've got this little small Game Boy Advance thing, and that is better. Really good music, which the Amiga version didn't have. Again, you can select any one of 3 characters, Hagar, Cody or Guy, and they must rescue the kidnapped Jessica from the Mad Gear gang. It's pretty shallow in story, I have to say, but it's one of those 2D horizontal scrolling fighting games. I've seen them done very badly and I've seen them done very well, and this is one that's done very well. I liked Double Dragon on the Game Boy Advance, and I like this one equally also. Number of levels, it's by Capcom, so very similar to style to the Street Fighter games. It does have mini games as well. You have to smash up a car and smash windows and various other hoodlum activities. So there we go then. So in summary, in third place, making up the top 3, Brainstorm on the ZX Spectrum by Bubble Bus. In second place, Another World on the Amiga by US Gold. And in first place, Final Fight 1, and very well deserved, by Capcom in 2001. that last place we went to, I don't know if I mentioned it, was Beto Carrero World. I think it's now been bought by Universal Studios. Well, there's a bit of an assault on the eyes and very colourful there, but there we go. So if you want to go to a theme park in Brazil, go to Beto Carrero World, and as per usual, I'm sure I pronounced that wrong. So that's that from Brazil as we look at their glorious Brazilian flag. They might have won the Football World Cup a couple of times, more than England anyway. So I hope you like seeing those this 2 weeks. As usual, thanks for watching. It does keep the channel going. You people that comment a lot, you people that comment sometime, you people that even just watch. I think you're absolutely fantastic. So till next time then, have a fantastic weekend and week and life. That was a bit much, wasn't it? Anyway, till next time, take care and goodbye.
Goodbye.